So welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the series where we look at practical and sensible cars which you can buy for a budget of between £1,000 and £5,000. This is the 2020 Volkswagen e-Golf, and yes, you can buy an e-Golf now for under £5,000. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the e-Golf was one of the kind of generation electric cars that came out in the mid-2010s, sort of a little bit after the Nissan Leaf and the Mitsubishi i-MiEV and the Peugeot i and the Citroen C0. The thing about this car is that, unlike a BMW i3, which is probably one of the close competitors to this, it wasn't a radical eco car with all these interesting sort of materials that it has and a radical design. It was a conventional Mark 7.5 Golf, and as we found out, it's got a normal key in it, for example, and a normal transmission selector. Just happens to be fully electric. That's sort of really what it's about. Early models had 113 horsepower and did 0 to 60 in about 10 seconds. This is a later car. It's got 133 horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 9.3 seconds. Battery's not massive on those, about 24.2 kWh, and the range in winter on those was something like 80 miles. The NDC cycle, which as we know wasn't very accurate at the time, said it did about 118 miles. This later car, the facelift occurred for 2017 model year, 190 miles on the NDC cycle, and practical range most of the time about 120 miles. Although this car at the moment, because I'm driving in Eco Plus mode, which severely restricts the horsepower, with 152 miles. It's currently 9 degrees centigrade where I'm driving. It feels very, very easy to drive. It's really straightforward, very comfortable, very quiet. Really just no bother whatsoever driving this. It's not a complicated or difficult car whatsoever. I could see the appeal of one of these if you just do short journeys or you really don't want a combustion version of the Golf. This would be good. Also, the prices of them are surprisingly low, actually. Even this late car with 44,000 miles on the clock, probably worth about £8,000, which is not that much money. So let's take a look at the e-Golf. It's strange to think, this is a really late one, it's a 2020, this particular car. But it's strange to think that if this was a really late Mark 7.5 Golf, say a 1.5 TSI Match Edition with the automatic gearbox, it would actually be worth quite a lot more than this, with this like 44,000 miles on it. It's actually quite easy to make a use case of this, because a lot of people might like one of these as a second car, or they just don't go very far in a day. Currently this car is almost fully charged. It's showing a range of about 155 miles, which isn't too bad for a lot of people. I wouldn't have thought. Styling is very much unlike something like a BMW i3 with which this would have competed. It looks exactly like a Mark 7.5 Golf, just some very minor changes, such as the front grille and the wheels, I think, are unique to it, and some badging, and of course there's no exhaust pipe. They've even kept the charger location in the same place as on a conventional car. We put the fuel in, obviously there's no fuel to put in, you can plug it in, and actually it will charge up to 50 kilowatts, this particular car, because it's a facelift one, and it's got CCS capability. So yes, I think it looks very nice. I think this car, honestly, is better than the Mark 8 Golf. So this has got about 133 horsepower if you use the normal mode. If you use the Eco or the Eco Plus mode, you get considerably less than that. In the pre-facelift models, it's sort of 94 for the Eco mode, and Eco Plus is 73. It's probably a bit more than that in this more powerful model, but it won't be loads. So I've driven it in the Eco Plus mode, and it's fine for around town use, but you probably want it to be a bit faster than that if you're going on the motorway or something. AC charging on this would be 7.2 kilowatts as standard. CCS is at 50 kilowatts. The boots are a bit smaller than a standard Mark 7.5 Golf. It's about 341 litres. Take a look at that a second. 0 to 60, I think, is 9.3 seconds. In terms of value of the car, so James, who owns this, has had it, I think, about 8 months. It was worth about £10,000 when he bought it. Electric car depreciation is so severe, I think it's only worth about £8,000 now. I think he's looking to actually sell it at some point. It is a nice example. It's not done many miles, really. I mean, you wouldn't imagine it would have done too many in a car like this. It's actually done more than I would have thought, considering the range is maximums was 190 miles at an EDC cycle. It's showing 155 at the moment in Eco Plus mode. So yes, let's take a look in the boot, shall we? Let's take a look and see what it's like. Probably just like a normal Mark 7.5 Golf, I would have thought, just slightly smaller because of the batteries. So charging cables in there. Got adjustable height boot floor, and even more charging cables in there for the Type 2 as well. So that's the granny charger in there. From what I understand, you can charge it up with the 50 kilowatt CCS in sort of an hour or so if you wanted to. It's not like got a huge battery on this, really. The pre-facelift ones are something really small, like 24 kilowatt hours. This one is 35.8 kilowatt hours. Where's the boot light? There it is, boot light's there. Got hooks and things in there. You can obviously drop the boot floor if you want to for a bit more space, but obviously when your charging cables don't have anywhere to go, so that's a bit of a problem, but it's okay. It's a bit less compromised than something like, say, an i3. I drove one of those many years ago. It was like the sort of third car ever on the channel. So we've had electric cars on the channel for a long time, which I don't tend to film too many at the moment because people get funny about them, but the use case for this is, particularly this later one with the extended range, would be as maybe like a second car or a town car or something like that. Or if you just didn't really go very far, this would be a good way into, smooth, efficient driving if you've got a very good tariff that you can charge this on. And also if you just like the Golf, you don't want a petrol one, which some people don't. I personally prefer this to the first generation Leaf as well. I think this may be even better than the second generation Leaf in some respects. Those aren't very expensive either. But yes, it's funny that these are not worth a lot of money anymore, actually, because the ID3 came in late 2020, and I drove one of those in, I think, 2021 I drove one, and it was a replacement for these. But they sold them alongside each other for a little bit, and this sort of represents sort of a previous generation of electric cars, and the ID3 is the next one. Personally, I prefer the look of this, but that's just me. Right, it's the second phone call I've had interrupting me today. Never mind, let's continue with what we're doing. Let's take a seat in the back. See, the accommodation of passengers is exactly the same as the Golf 7.5, same as the one I filmed in 2019. It was an immaculate car, but a bit like this. It'd done even fewer miles. Actually, it'd done about 400 miles when I filmed it. So it was the nicest car we'd actually filmed up until that point. One thing I don't like about Mark 7.5 Golfs is these Isofix covers. They come out like that, and where do you put them? You're just going to lose them. They're not attached to anything, which I find really stupid. The e-Golf in this country is only available in one specification. I'd say it's sort of similar to like SE or Match trim, really. Nice sort of quality materials all over dash tops, are sort of hard in the back, which is, I suppose it's fine, it's not really a big issue. Very big door pockets, and just a general feeling of kind of, quality, really. LED interior lights for back passengers. Got a ski hatch in here as well. Obviously, if you were back in the day, say before something like the MG ZS came in 2019, this would have been one of the better electric cars that would have been available. And actually, the price of a top of the range MG ZS EV when it was launched in 2019 and this were almost exactly the same. This was £31,000. So is a ZS, but then that had a huge amount of grants on top of it, so you got it for about 24, 25. This, I'm not sure. You would have got the government grant, which was about, I think it's £2,500. So the MG got more on top of that, so it's almost a better choice, but this just feels a little bit nicer in terms of the construction of it. Got the mat pockets on the back, vents down here. Not to say apart from that, you know, there's nice damped grab handles in here. Headlining is nice and light. Apart from that, it just feels like, you know, lots and lots and lots of Mark 7.5 Golfs that I've had the pleasure of seeing over the course of many years, which is no bad thing at all, really. It means that electric car ownership was a bit more sort of straightforward for a lot of people, because I didn't have to drive something like, I don't know, a Leaf or a BMW i3, which, you know, honest, don't really look or feel particularly like a normal petrol car, whereas this really does. There's some very minor changes in the way this car looks, but they're not significant, and so it sort of blends in with everything else, which is, I suppose it's good if you're that kind of person, but some people aren't. Anyway, let's have a look in the front, and we'll see what the interior is like there. Unlike a lot of electric cars, we've got a normal key. We have to put the key in to actually turn the car on. Unlike the ID3, where you just literally sort of sit down and move the gear lever. Go. Okay, so here we are. Welcome, guest. Hello. So the range is actually shown there, and where the rev counter would normally be, we've got this sort of charge meter. Now I've got the car in Eco Plus mode, I think it is. So performance and comforts of the radio, that's perfectly comfortable. I don't know what the problem is or anything. You can go into normal, which gives you all 133 horsepower. Eco, which gives you a bit less, maybe 100 something. And an Eco Plus, I think, is about 75, 80. We put the car in B mode to give us a bit more regen braking, which is where you get into the green section there. And then the blue section is where you really floor it, but you can't really floor it very much in Eco Plus mode. See on this screen here, which I think is like an 8-inch on this car. Driving mode selector, you can go normal, Eco Plus, we'll leave it like that. And then we can look at the other functions in here as well. We've got things like media, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay on this one, radio, keep it nice and quiet so we don't interfere with copyright, apps and whatever it is. There we go, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, MirrorLink, and car, we've got some status and everything like here, this in here, tyre pressure monitoring, e-manager, which is, you know, all this sort of things to do with charging and all kinds of things. So there's a few other more options in here than the standard Volkswagen infotainment system, which would have been actually in a Golf at the time. 4.1 miles per kilowatt hour is my efficiency. Long term, 5 miles per kilowatt hour. That's actually really good. Although it looks like someone's not been driving very fast at 17 miles an hour for most of it. So yeah, you know, it's quite useful to look through these things. We've got the Think Blue trainer and how to drive properly, which actually is very good at the moment. Well, thank you very much, car, for being efficient for me. That's very encouraging. See if my secret mission documents actually will go into here. We've got the CD player actually in here, which is a bit inconvenient. We've got SD cards 1 and 2. And the secret mission documents do not go in a glove box, which is rubbish. Put them in the door. Door is a lot bigger. It's actually felt lined on this car. I'll just show you on this side. Let's turn that off with a key. There we go, like a peasant. So there we are. So nice big sort of felt lined door bins. The famous Volkswagen headlight switch has been everything, and these stalks, which are in my old Seat Toledo Mark IV. Nice sort of stitching on the wheel in blue to show you that it's the Eco model, and then a normal gear lever like in a DSG Golf, and just the standard automatic handbrake. Little cover there for the cup holders, and this sort of soft open and close compartment here where it says e-Golf to remind you to charge it at some point. And you can have the B mode or the D mode. Actually, there is a mode for changing gears in inverted commas if you want to manually. I don't know how that's going to work, but there we go. So look at the centre console here. All standard stuff, really. Not a lot to say. Put things in there. No sunroof. Compartment for sunglasses as well up here. Other than that, it just feels very typical Volkswagen. Although comically with speedo only goes up to 100 because the car will only do 87 miles an hour. To be honest, you don't really want to go much faster than that, do you? Particularly in this country where the speed limit is 70. Right, let's have a look under the bonnet, shall we? So, standard Volkswagen Group coolant reservoir in here, although it looks very different from, say, the 1.5 TSI model I drove in 2019. With all the batteries and things. There's standard 12 volt and then other batteries, of course, as well. The 36 kilowatt hour one that's in here because there's a later car. Not much to say, really. There's no frunk or fruit or anything in here for storing luggage. This is where the combustion origins of the car really are evident that it's not really designed for that kind of thing. There's the grille, though. This is e-Golf, and parking sensors on this one. This the only trim available in this country, which is called the e-Golf. Not much to say apart from that, really. I think we need to go out for another drive, viewers. So in terms of the electrified versions of the Mark 7.5 Golf, the GTE, the plug-in hybrid 1.4 engine, would be much, much faster than this. It would feel more urgent. This thing is really just more for somebody who likes relaxed driving. Why being in B mode in Eco Plus feels appropriate. Everything is just so easy to use. The B mode's not very severe. It's the only mode, I think, with the regen braking. It's nothing like Nissan Leaf e-pedal system, which would have been available at the time the second generation Leaf when this car was made. Particularly because the 3-phase one didn't come with CCS charging as standard, I don't think. And it was only 40 kilowatts. This is a later car. It has CCS charging as standard, and that's about 50 kilowatts, which is better. You know, I think this car's pretty nice and relaxing to drive. It's just not for me to say, I don't think, about one of these. Either you get why one of these would exist or you don't, and you say, I want a 1.5 petrol Golf 7.5, please, which will be more appropriate for a lot of people. In conclusion then, is this a car that you should consider for your hard-earned budget between £1,000 and £5,000? Well, £5,000 is not going to buy you a lot in terms of e-Golf. It will buy you probably something that's higher mileage and quite an old one that came out in 2014. But yeah, if you are willing to spend a bit more, you get a really nice one for less than £10,000. I think it would be good. Anyway, thank you ever so much once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below, and we shall see you again very soon for some more reasonably priced motoring.